There was a particular wrongness to the town that season. Like a clock that kept the right hour but struck a stranger's chime, lamps hummed flatly, as though the light itself had swallowed a secret. People smiled with rehearsed slowness. Their footsteps avoided a stretch of pavement beneath a street elm whose leaves never quite settled. I learned to listen for those small misalignments because my work, prompting unease, steering attention toward the lid of what lies hidden, required me to know when the world had shifted. At first the signs were petty, domestic, an absence of starlight over the mill pond, radios hanging a beat between stations, the neighbor's dog returning with a wet, unplaceable smell beneath its coat. I began to compose moments for my audience, the gentle erosion of certainty. Tap a glass and let the echo lag. Leave a page of an old book open where the ink has gone faint. People leaned forward, eyes narrowing, hungry in the way sleepers hope for a dream that explains nothing but rearranges them. I fed that hunger, and it fed me back images I did not expect, shadows that remembered corners they had never occupied, reflections that paused a breath behind you. My own mind started staging intermissions. I woke with the taste of iron and a thought like a language fragment on the edge of comprehension. In conversations, I caught myself repeating phrases I hadn't chosen. Memory lost its anchors. I would reach for recollection and find the clasp undone, strings trailing into silence. Paranoia is a fine instrument when tuned to subtlety, too shrill and the audience flees, but corrosive when it becomes a companion. It began lecturing at my shoulder, pointing out patterns in curtains and in the coughs of strangers. Then the geometry altered. One late-night transmission I intercepted, static braided with low, rhythmic pulses, resolved for an instant into a topography no map had ever shown. Angles folding upward like ribs against a sky that exhaled blue-white cold. The pulses were not sound so much as pressure on the bones of thought, suggesting shapes the human mind could only approximate with the language of hurt and light. Presence arrived not as a body but as a redefinition. The town's edges softened, distances reweighted. The trust that distances imply quietly revoked. The confrontation was not cinematic. It was a recalibration of attention. Street lamps stopped promising circles and threw out ambiguous planes. Trees adjusted their shadows to indicate pathways leading nowhere and everywhere. Pointing a recorder at that sway of air, I received my own questions back in a voice too old to be new. My audience, rapt, laughed once, small and terrified, and then the laughter became the town's clock again, but slower, counting differently. I left a note taped to my door for whoever came next, inscribed with the complacent duty of someone who had seen the seam and chosen to stitch it with words rather than hands. I stepped away into a hallway that no longer belonged to linear time, and I closed the door. The silence agreed to wait.